Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another long-term update for you. Today is a long-term update with a theme. These are all budget knives and very budget knives. The most expensive knife here is 39 bucks, so pretty darn budget. I like knives like this, and you know what? They stick around in the collection for a long time. When you get them, sometimes they're just really not worth selling unless you can sell them in lots, due to shipping. Sometimes the shipping's as much as the knife would cost to sell it. So they hang around, and they just get spread around the house. And at least in my case, they wind up in drawers all over the place. I actually had to go seek some of these out to go I know I have one of what drawer did that get left in, and they get moved around a bunch. Everybody in the whole family uses them. I use them. My wife uses them. Both my kids, they're teenagers, totally fine for them to be using knives. They use them. They just get moved around, and they get a whole lot of work. And I've had all of these for quite some time. I went back to go look to see when I got them. I was really surprised how long I've had all these. The shortest amount of time I've had any of these is 6 months, and it kind of snuck up on me. And I use them a lot too, even just carrying them. I'm walking out the door, I'm like, I forgot a knife, and I just grab one of them out of one of the many drawers that they lay in. I like budget knives. They're cool to have around, even if you have really expensive stuff. It's cool to have them around. So let's get going. We're just going to go left to right. I'm just going to give you an idea of how they've been holding up and talk more about that, and give you some updates since I did the review, if I change my mind on things like that. Here we go. First up, we have the Ontario Wrap Model 2 in D2 steel. You guys all know I love this one because I put it in my top 10 budget knives of 2018. It's a great freaking knife. This is the only one I still have. I used to have two. I had the carbon fiber one, but the carbon fiber one I was using for size comparisons because it looked cooler. The carbon fiber one, it's not real carbon. It just had a little laminate on it. But this is the one I kept because this is the one I use. I do really like this plain old, I think they call it Coyote Brown, something like that. Somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. FRN handles, but it's just a great freaking knife. Very sensible blade, nice and flickable. I think this is probably my family's favorite knife. I think this is the one that everybody likes the most. It gets used a lot. This actually, it's been back in my case recently, but it did since I sold the carbon one. But it did spend some time in a kitchen drawer, and it got used quite a bit. And yeah, and it's D2, and it's still no corrosion at all. It's been used on food and stuff, and it didn't mess it up. So don't be as afraid of D2 as everybody wants to be. Just keep it clean, and it's fine. But yeah, love this thing. And it's held up perfectly fine. Everything's still great. Centering got a little bit off, but not at all anything I'm remotely even close to worried about. It flicks so well. I thought about actually taking it apart and tuning it up before this video, but it didn't. I'm not going to bother because this is one of the most expensive ones in this. It's a whole $38. That's one of the most expensive ones on here. Awesome knife. The Ontario R2D2 is a legend for absolute sure. Next up, and one I have not talked about in a long time, the Steelwill Mini Cut Jack. This is the most expensive knife here. It's $39 whole. D2 steel again, 3-inch blade. Yeah, this is one that actually lives in the little box I have on my nightstand most of the time. And if I wake up in the morning and realized I forgot a knife, this is the one I grab. And it's fantastic. It's held up really well. I did have some issues when I first got it. I think I covered this in the review. There was some random floating piece of loose FRN in the bushings here I had to clean out. But I took it apart, cleaned it up, and since then, action's been really, really good. It broke in super nice. And, it's not drop shut. You're never going to be. But it's close to it. All you got to do is flick your wrist a little bit. Runs on bushings. It's just... the ergonomics on this thing are what get me every time. Every time I actually use it for something, I'm just like, wow, why don't I carry this more? Why don't I have the M390 fancy version of this? It's such a good ergonomic knife. I do have the 3.5-inch M390 of this, but man, I do just really, really like it. It's just a great knife. I heard they're coming out in other colors. I think when I got this, it was just the black or the blue. But I think I saw on one of the SHOT Show videos that they're coming out in more colors. So that's cool. But I like this one that's pretty much blacked out. Their D2s held up extremely well. Same with the Ontario, by the way. The D2s held up really well. Yeah, just a really cool budget knife. Can't go wrong with a mini cut jack or the full-size cut jack. They make the full-size in this FRN D2 version also. Next up, this is one that just came on my radar. Both of these, by the way, I'm sorry I didn't say. Both of these I've had for a year. This is a bit more than a year. I think this was like a year and 3 months. The Ontario I've had for about a year. This I've only had for about 6 months, which for me is a really long time for a knife. This is the QSP Parrot. This is still just an amazing knife. Again, simple blade shape. I like a good simple blade shape. And very simple handle, very comfortable. It's really nice. The action on it's great. It's one that is a pleasure to use. And I don't care about messing up. Especially since it only costs $21. So it's not bad at all. I don't remember what the steel on it is. I want to say it's 440C, but could be wrong on that. But it's held up well. I did have to sharpen it once, but that's unsurprising. Nice pocket clip. It's just $21, and they're so nice. Now, Cutlery Lover, I think it was, he got a bad one that had severe lock rock. Mine has never had that. It has never developed that. I think he got another one that was better. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but I thought I saw that happen. But after a little bit of use, it got some lock rock. This has not, and it's gone through a fair amount of use, and it's just a really good solid knife for 21 bucks. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just really cool. Next up, the Honey Badger. This knife was all the rage for a while. I guess kind of still is. You still see brand new reviews of it popping up, but we were all really excited about it because the action on this thing is just silly. $32 for one of these. Again, I've had this about 6 months, and the action on it still remains just silly. I did take it apart and lube it up once. I think it's got nano oil in it. This is going to be stupid. I'm going to smell it to tell which one I used. No, that's got nano grease in it. That was back when I was still putting grease on bearings. I still do it sometimes, but not as much. I can smell the difference. I'm sorry. KPL has a distinctive smell. The grease has a distinctive smell. Nano oil smells like nothing. So that's how I can tell. That was weird. I apologize for that. But the action on it is still just addicting. It really is. And I like this one so much. It's really hard to get this is the medium size. The medium and the black. I know they've popped up occasionally, but I can't order them off of Amazon because I live in New York and they just don't allow me to. So I have to ask a friend to do it and all this stuff. So I haven't. I've actually considered dyeing these scales black just because I don't care for the tan. But I do care for the blade. The blade is great. 8CR 13. Wah wah. I always have to make that noise. But at this price, 32 bucks, I'm okay with it because the action is just so good. Nice deep carry clip. I'm still not sure why they had to do the jimping here. That choil is so deep, I just don't think it needs it. But other than that, yeah. And the 8CR holds up as well as you'd expect 8CR to hold up. I can't say it's as good as, like, Kershaw does a really good job with 8CR. I don't think it's quite as good as that. But it's all right. It still always takes I just used a little ceramic rods on the sharp maker when it gets a little dull, and it comes right back to life, and everything's all fine with the world again. But multiple deployment, all that stuff. The Honey Badger is just great. It is a really good knife. South African design. Pretty sure I know who makes it in China, but without knowing for sure, I'm not going to say so, but pretty sure I do. And it's probably someone better than you'd expect. So, yeah. Great little knives. You can only find them on like Amazon here in the U.S. Well, I'm sorry, there is a retailer. I don't remember the name of them. I'm going to link to all the reviews of these down below. In that review of this, I think I put a link to where you can get the other retailer that sells them. But they do make other designs now, so yeah. I guess these are like really super cheap in South Africa. They're like gas station knives down there, but here we all clamor for them and sell them out on Amazon in 5 minutes. And well deserved. Lockup is same as it was when I got it. It's a little late, but still same as it was. I'm going to do it with the QSP too, because I know that was something that after the cutlery lover video, people were worried about. Yeah, lockup's the same exact as it was when I got it. So I think he just had one that had a bad heat treat on the liner or something like that. Next up, one I've had for about a year, a little more than a year, probably a year and 2 or 3 months. This is the Rake. I'm so good at saying, I'm the only person on YouTube who never screws that up, and I just screwed it up. The Rake P801 SF. Just, this thing is good. This is a knife that I'm not carrying it. This is a budget knife that I will carry instead of much more expensive knives sometimes. And then this one does not spend time in drawers. This is one that stays in my case, and I just want to carry it some days. I did modify it slightly. This is the slightest modification you make. I took the back clip off and removed the blue from it. It used to be blue, the same as the thumb studs were. Just because it's a nice slim knife, but it's a very good sized blade. It's actually a, it's like a full 3.5. Yeah, it's a full 3.5 inch blade. And it's just a very slim, nice to carry pocket knife, and I just don't want that big blue pocket clip sticking out, so I did take a Dremel and just grind the blue off. You can see I stylishly, though, left the blue inside there. Doesn't that look cool? I did that purely for style, not because I'm lazy and didn't want to get in there and remove it. That is not at all why. It's just for style. Yep. Just 14C28 in steel. This is a very early one. I think the newer ones have that nice new polished edge, you know, that you get on a lot of the rakes. And now you can get one that's all kind of black wash. I admit I've been tempted to get the black wash one just to do some part swapping between the two. Because, again, they're not expensive. About $30. I think the black one might be a bit more, but I could spend $30, get the black one, do some part swapping, and make a really cool looking one. I'd love to have one with... you know, without the blue thumb studs and this blade on the black wash handle and the black pocket clip. I think that would just look cool as hell. I may still do that someday, but we'll see. But man, the action on it is great. It's running on bearings if memory serves correctly. Stainless steel frame lock, but still not crazily heavy or anything. But I just love that blade shape, and the 14C28N that Rake uses is really, really good. It's one of my favorite budget steels. It just flat out probably is. No, it is my favorite budget steel. No, probably about it. It is my favorite budget steel. I really like 14C28N. Although that 9CR from CVV is pretty darn good too. But that's a little bit more. But yeah, it's just such a good knife. Ergonomically, it's really good. Again, it's so thin, easy to carry. Action's really good. Nice fidget factor. And just listen to that. It's got a good, solid deployment. This one is well broken in, I will tell you. This has a lot of miles on it. I would say probably between this and my Manix 2 Lightweight have the most use of any of the knives that I've owned over time, because I've had them both for a very long time. The Manix 2 Lightweight more because I've had it for like 2.5 years, but this I've had for like a year and gets a lot of use. And it's held up great. Lockup is a little late, but again, not dramatically more than it was. About the same as it was when I got it, actually. Yeah, it's about the same. Again, I'm going to link to the review down below. I will put a little viewer's warning. Some of these reviews are going to be older, and I was not as good at doing reviews as I am now. So please take that into account when you go back and watch those reviews. Last up, another one I can't believe I've had for 6 months, the K-Bar Dozer. These are super cheap. These are $21, same as the QSP Parrot. Just a freaking cool little lightweight knife, and it's a K-Bar. I was in the military, so I like, you know, K-Bar. We always got issued K-Bar knives and stuff. Really nice thin hollow grind. This is the one with the thumb hole deployment. I have two. I do actually also have a nice viewer sent me this one with the thumb stud that he sharpened himself, which is a very, very nice edge on it, by the way. This one I had to go downstairs and get because this pretty much permanently lives in the box on top of the little rolling desk, the roll top desk that sits next to our front door. This is our mail opener. It has been for quite some time, and it serves a very, very good job at that, and it still has a nice mirror edge on it. So it comes in the 2 different versions. I much prefer the thumb hole one. It comes in a bunch of different colors and stuff. Oh, if I didn't say, the parrot also comes in a few different colors. The rat, we all know, comes in a few different colors. The badger comes in like 2 or 3. We talked about the rake. Okay, that's covered. But nice thin hollow grind blade. I think this is, again, $440. I apologize, I didn't look these up. I probably should have looked up what steel they were before I did it. But I am going to be using this in a comparison. You're going to see it again shortly against another new budget knife I like, the Buck 112 Ranger Slim. I am going to do a comparison test between these two. Actually, I've already recorded it. I'm going to put this up before that, but sometime later this week, probably you'll see a little comparison between those two. But yeah, the Dozer is just a really cool knife. And again, I've had it for 6 months, and this one, honestly, to be honest with you, doesn't get as much use as the other one does. But this is the one that I actually like the best. But yeah, centering's still good, all that stuff. It gets a fair amount of use. It's super lightweight. It weighs virtually nothing. I think it's like 2 ounces or something like that. It's ridiculously light. But a really cool knife. So that's it. That is my long-term budget update. Yeah, I have another one coming. I do have another block of slightly more expensive budget ones, like the $40 to $60 range. I've already got a few lined up for that, but I'm going to wait a little bit because one of them I want to get another month or so's use out of before I do that. But hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.